Good day to you all, comrades and friends. This is Global Weekly News, serial number 19. Well, we have a very good news this week. Comrade Lula da Silva has defeated the pro-American Bolsonaro in Brazil. So first let us see Brazil election result. In the second round of polls for president post in Brazil, a Latin American country, Comrade Lula da Silva of the Workers' Party won by getting 50.9% votes. His rival, the incumbent president, Jair Bolsonaro, got 49.1% votes. Lula will be sworn in as President of Brazil on 1st January 2023. Lula was the former President of Brazil from 2003 to 2010. The opposition leveled false or framed false allegations of corruption and got him imprisoned for 580 days. Later on, he was barred from contesting elections also. After hearing the appeal, the court acquitted Lula of all the charges. Lula was instrumental in formation of World Social Forum, a forum which propagated alternative world is possible. There is an alternative to neoliberal policies dictated by US imperialism. Lula's victory is very vital at this juncture to protect the natural Amazon rainforest, to protect the livelihoods of the working class and the common people of Brazil, to advance the anti-imperialist and class struggles forward in Latin America and in the world. We greet those who worked for the victory of Comrade Lula da Silva and those who voted for him in the elections. The setback for red flag movement can only be temporary. Socialism is the only alternative all over the world. Comrades and friends, let us now look into the important event of October, which is 20th Congress of Communist Party of China, CPC. 20th Congress of the Communist Party of China was held this October 16 to 22. 96 million people in China are Communist Party members. One of the main themes of the Congress was rejuvenation of the country through a Chinese path to modernization. CPC's General Secretary Xi Jinping sketched out the way forward to build China into a modern socialist country. Most of the Western media commentary ignored the actual discussions, opting instead to make wild speculations about the deliberations in the party, including sudden departure of the former President Hu Jintao during the closing session of the Congress, who left because he was feeling ill. When the Communist Party took power in China in 1849, the country was the 11th poorest country in the world. For the first time since the century of humiliation that began with the British wars on China from 1839 onward, China has developed into a major power, with the social situation of the Chinese people having greatly improved from their conditions in 1849. Xi Jinping became the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China at the 18th National Congress in 2012 and was elected President of the People's Republic of China in March 2013. Since then, the country has gone through significant changes. Economically, China's GDP has almost doubled to become the world's second largest economy, growing from 58.8 trillion yuan in 2013 to 114.37 trillion yuan in 2021, and its GDP expanded at a rate of 6.6% per year during the same period. Meanwhile, the country's per capita GDP almost doubled between 2013 and 2021, with China approaching the high-income country bracket. In terms of the world economy, China's GDP was 18.5% of the global total in 2021, and the country was responsible for 30% of the world's goods in 2021. China has become one of the major manufacturing centers of the world. While the country was responsible for 30% of the world's goods production in 2021, up from more than 20% in 2012. This adds to the decades of historically unprecedented growth rate of 9.8% per year from 1978 to 2014, since the launching of economic reform in China in 1978. That is called Great Leap Forward. These economic achievements are historic and did not come without their set of challenges and consequences. Xi Jinping, in his opening remarks, self-critically pointed out that money worship, complacency, that is self-satisfaction, hedonism, lack of initiative, and refusing to learn from the experiences are deep-seated problems. A decade ago, in his speech at the 18th Communist Party of China National Congress, outgoing General Secretary Hu Jintao mentioned the word corruption several times. He warned that if we fail to handle the issue of corruption well, it could prove fatal to the party and the fall of the state. Xi Jinping's first task after taking over as General Secretary of the Communist Party of China was to tackle the issue. In his inaugural speech as the party head in 2013, Xi Jinping said he was committed to the fighting of tigers and flies at the same time, referring to the corruption that had spread from the top echelons of the down to the grassroots level within the party and the government. The party launched 8-point rules for its members in December 2012 to limit practices such as inconsequential meetings and extravagant receptions for official visits, and advocated diligence and thrift. A year after the launch of the mass line campaign by Xi's administration, in June 2013, official meetings were reduced by 25% in comparison to the period before the campaign. 160,000, that is 160,000 phantom, that is mythical staff were removed from the government payroll, and 2,580 unnecessary official building projects were stopped. In the period from November 2012 to April 2022, 4.7 million officials were investigated in the fight against corruption. Party members were also investigated. In the first half of this year also, 24 senior officials were investigated for corruption, and former ministers, provincial governors, and presidents of the biggest state-owned banks have been expelled from the party and given harsh sentences, including life imprisonment. During the period of high growth after 1978, Communist Party of China members grew increasingly detached from the people. As part of the targeted poverty alleviation campaign launched in 2014, 8 lakh, that is 800,000 party cadres were sent to survey and visit 128,000 villages as part of the project in 2020. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, China successfully eradicated extreme poverty, contributing to 76% of the global reduction in poverty. The strong actions against corruption contributed to the Chinese people's confidence in the government. The rise of confidence in rural areas resulted from increased social services, trust in local officials, and the campaign against poverty. At the 20th Party Congress, Xi Jinping said that in pursuing modernization, China will not tread the old path of war, colonization, and plunder taken by some countries. He said that China will stand firmly on the right side of history and on the side of human progress. China would like to collaborate with other countries to try and solve humanity's dilemmas. The Belt and Road Initiative was launched in 2013 with the purpose of win-win cooperation and development, and has thus far built a much needed infrastructure with the investment and construction contracts totaling $1 trillion in almost 150 countries. So through Belt and Road Initiative, China has helped 150 countries to build their infrastructure development and all that. China's interest in tackling the climate catastrophe is evidenced by its planting of a quarter of the world's new forests over the past decade, and in becoming a world leader in renewable energy investments and electrical vehicle production. China adopted a COVID-19 policy that prioritizes lives of human beings than profits. China donated 325 million doses of vaccines and saved millions of lives all over the world. As a result of its initiative in the public health sector, the average life expectancy of Chinese people was 77.93 years in 2020 and reached 78.2 years in 2021, and for the first time surpassed life expectancy of America, 77 years in 2020 and 76.1 in 2021 in America. So in 2021, life expectancy in America is 76.1. In 2021, China life expectancy is 78.2 years. That means 2 years more than America. In 2049, China will celebrate the centenary of its revolution. In 2017, Xi Jinping emphasized 3 tough battles to defuse major financial risks, to eradicate poverty, and to control pollution. This 20th Congress of the Communist Party of China has gone beyond these tough battles to protect Chinese sovereignty and to expand the dignity of the Chinese people. Comrades and friends, this is the picture of a socialist country. Now we see the picture of a capitalist, imperialist country, Britain. Rishi Sunak has taken over as the new Prime Minister. Well, he will not be able to solve the problems of the British common people. On 25th October, 42-year-old Rishi Sunak, a man of Indian origin, was sworn in as new Prime Minister of United Kingdom. At a time when over 11 million people in the United Kingdom are expected to fall into fuel poverty and thousands are going hungry, the wealthiest member of the House of Commons has been appointed as the new Prime Minister. Delivering his first address outside his residence, 10 Downing Street, on 25th October, Rishi Sunak stated that the country was facing a profound economic crisis, and while some mistakes were made during Lee's Truss tenure, he had been elected to fix them. I will place economic stability and confidence at the heart of this government's agenda. This will mean difficult decisions to come. Well, that's what Rishi Sunak said before his residence. This was similar to the statements made by now reappointed Chancellor, the Minister Jeremy Hunt, who warned of decision of eye-watering difficulty. The burden of this difficulty and the need to tighten belts, which can only mean more cuts and austerity, will ultimately be borne by the poor and the working class, and the consequences can be deadly. A study released by University of Glasgow attributed shocking 335,000 excess deaths to the austerity policies imposed by conservative governments between 2012 and 2019. 335,000 excess deaths. The personal wealth of Rishi Sunak and his wife, Akshata Murthy, stands at $830 million. Meanwhile, wages in the United Kingdom have fallen at the fastest rate in over the 2 decades, and inflation driven by high food prices has reached a 40-year high. Sunak has not made any concrete statements about his economic plans. Pro-austerity and pro-rich agenda of his government is evident in his appointment to the cabinet, particularly Hunt as the finance minister. Sunak has put the man responsible for much of the collapse of National Health Service in charge of the country's economy. When Hunt was the health secretary between 2012 to 18, Hunt saw the slowest period of investment in National Health Service. The time spent by patients waiting to access accident and emergency services grew significantly under his tenure. Hunt pushed for privatization of health services. He extended the cap on pay increases for National Health Service workers and imposed contract on junior doctors following a series of historic strikes in 2016. Several hospitals are in the danger of physical collapse. Sunak appointed Suella Braverman as Home Secretary, cementing the government's hardline anti-immigration agenda. Sunak and Braverman have supported reducing the number of migrants arriving in United Kingdom. Dominic Raab is reinstated as Justice Secretary. He is interested in passing rights removal bill, which will scrap the Human Rights Act, allowing UK courts to United Kingdom court to disregard the rulings issued by the European Court of Human Rights, and making it much harder for oppressed and marginalized groups to seek justice. So Sunak said that Islamic extremism is the single largest threat to UK's national security. His strategy is involved in serious potential breaches of children's rights and human rights, and subjected children as young as those in nursery and primary school to an extraordinary net of surveillance. Conservative Party systematically dismantles the right to dissent. Public Order Bill expands policing powers. In a year of historic labor uprisings across several sectors, the government has also been attacking trade union rights, including the right to strike. Transport Strikes Minimum Service Levels Bill restricts strikes in the transport sector. In July, UK adopted a law making it easier for business to hire temporary workers during strikes. Government intends to do away with 2,400 laws which include key workers' rights related to equal pay and pension. As the Conservative government moves forward with its attacks on the working class and marginalized groups, progressive forces and trade unions in the UK have taken a oath to resist. Lastly, we see how the inequalities have grown all over the world due to the capitalist neoliberal policies. 1% of world's rich people, they own 76% of global wealth. As per Oxfam report, as in January 2022, 10 richest people of the world own more than the wealth of bottom 3.1 billion people. That is 310 crore people. There are 2,668 billionaires in the world. 1 billion is equal to 100 crore. Billionaire means one whose wealth is more than $1 billion. That is more than 8,300 crores of rupees. Some of the richest are Elon Musk. He owns a wealth of 21,900 crore dollars. Second comes Jeff Bezos with 17,100 crore dollars. Bernard Arnault, 15,800 crore dollars. Bill Gates, 12,900 crore dollars. Warren Buffett, 11,800 crore dollars. 1 crore means 10 million. It is the fault of poor people to remain poor. This is the argument, the stupid argument of the capitalists. In India, as per Hindu ideology, poverty is the result of one's own sins in the previous birth. Google, Apple, Meta and Amazon. Gamma, G for Google, A for Apple, M for Meta, Facebook and A for Amazon are monopoly digital platform. Financial capital and these digital companies are creating new crises in the world. 76% of total wealth produced in 2022 is pocketed by just 10% of the population of the world. Out of the 100 richest people in the world, 37 belong to America. The total wealth is $2.3 trillion. 1 trillion means 1 lakh crore. Capitalism, well, as a system, it has failed miserably. Capitalism is in deadlock. It has to go lock, stock and barrel to remove the growing inequalities. Under capitalism, not only inequalities are growing, the rate at which inequalities are growing, that rate also is increasing. So therefore, down with capitalism, up socialism. Comrades, let us see next week. Thank you.